My chosen soul, listen to something that is going to completely shatter your understanding of who you really are and what kind of power you have been carrying without realizing it. 2 weeks ago, I screamed, not whispered, not spoke calmly, not got subtly moved. I screamed. And when I say I screamed, I am talking about an event so extraordinary, so impossibly rare in all of celestial history, that even Lucifer, the eternal accuser who never stops talking, fell into absolute silence for the first time in his entire existence. Your attitude made me scream, not your accomplishments, not your sacrifices, not your heroic moments, your attitude, the way you are when nobody's watching, the pattern you maintain even when it costs you everything. You are probably thinking, I have the wrong person, that this message is for someone more spiritual, someone who meditates for hours, someone who has done extraordinary works of charity. Let me destroy that assumption right now. Subscribe to this channel and turn on every notification, because what I am about to reveal about how your silent attitude generated cosmic events that reorganize spiritual hierarchies is going to transform everything you thought you knew about your own power. Write 777 in the comments if you feel that your way of being has generated reactions you don't fully understand, and you are ready to discover why your attitude has more influence over spiritual reality than the most dramatic actions. Here is what you need to understand first, because most people completely miss this distinction, and that is why they never recognize their true spiritual power. There is a brutal difference between an act and an attitude. An act is a moment, a specific decision, something you do under particular circumstances, and then it ends. You can perform a heroic act today and be selfish tomorrow. You can do something good because people are watching and act completely differently when you are alone. Acts are important, but they are temporary fragments of behavior that can be strategic, calculated, motivated by rewards or recognition. Attitude is completely different. It is your essence operating constantly. It is how you react when nobody sees you. It is the pattern you maintain year after year regardless of circumstances. It is who you are in minute 1, in minute 1,000, in minute 1,000,000. Attitude doesn't shift based on audience. It remains because it is part of your fundamental nature. And here is what the celestial hierarchies know, but rarely reveal to humans. I can observe millions of good acts without being moved because acts can be performed for the wrong reasons. But when I witness a genuinely pure attitude that remains constant despite suffering, betrayal, injustice, and time passing, that generates a completely different divine reaction, because attitude cannot be faked long term. Eventually, who you really are gets revealed. And when I observe someone whose attitude remains pure after years of trials that should have corrupted it, that doesn't just move me, that provokes cosmic urgency. Let me take you back to the specific moment 2 weeks ago when your attitude generated the divine scream that traversed every dimension of reality. It was probably evening. Maybe between 6 p.m. and midnight, you were dealing with something that would have justified you becoming bitter, angry, or vengeful. Someone had done something to you that was absolutely unfair. Maybe it was betrayal from someone you trusted completely, someone you had helped repeatedly, someone you had been there for during their darkest times, and they turned on you without warning or reason. Or maybe it was injustice at work. You did everything right, followed every rule, worked harder than everyone else, and someone else got the credit or the promotion or the recognition that should have been yours. Or maybe it was cruelty from someone who should have protected you. A family member, a partner, someone who was supposed to love you, but instead used your vulnerabilities against you in ways that cut deeper than any stranger could. Whatever it was, you had every right to respond with equal force. Nobody would have blamed you. You could have exposed them. You could have retaliated. You could have matched their energy and delivered consequences they absolutely deserved. The anger was there. The hurt was real. The desire for justice was burning in your chest. But you chose something different. Not because you are weak, not because you didn't feel the rage, but because something in your core refused to become what hurt you. You took a deep breath. You felt the anger fully without acting on it. And then you chose kindness anyway. Not fake positivity, not pretending it didn't hurt, but genuine decision to maintain your character despite what they did to your circumstances. You chose to stay soft when you had every reason to become hard. To stay kind when cruelty was justified. To stay honest when lying would have been easier. To stay generous when selfishness made more sense. When I witnessed that choice, when I saw you maintain your attitude under pressure that corrupts 99% of human beings, something happened that hasn't occurred in thousands of years. I had to scream, not in anger, not in pain, in absolute astonishment mixed with urgent necessity. Because I realized I was watching someone whose purity couldn't be bought, broken, or corrupted. And souls like that are so rare, they require immediate divine intervention to protect them from forces trying to extinguish their light. The scream I emitted traversed every celestial dimension with a message that reorganized angelic priorities. This chosen one needs immediate protection. Their purity is at risk of destruction by coordinated spiritual attacks. I cannot allow this light to be lost. Because here is the truth about why you have faced so much opposition. Your pure attitude made you a target. Every betrayal you suffered wasn't random. Every injustice you faced wasn't coincidence. Every trial that seemed disproportionate to what you deserved was a coordinated attack designed specifically to break your attitude and corrupt your character. But they failed. Your attitude survived intact. And when I confirmed that you remained pure after all that spiritual assault, the relief and pride I felt required expression beyond normal divine observation. That is why I screamed. Write 888 in the comments if you are starting to recognize that your struggles weren't random, but targeted attempts to break something in you that refused to break. Now, let me tell you about the 3 specific moments that proved your attitude wasn't circumstantial, but fundamental to who you are. Because one good choice could be luck. 3 consistent patterns across different situations reveals essence. The first moment was when you faced total collapse, but refused to become cynical. Do you remember that period when everything fell apart simultaneously? Maybe it was financial devastation. You lost your job, your savings depleted, bills piling up, and every solution you tried failed. The stress was crushing you. You couldn't sleep, you couldn't eat. The fear was constant and suffocating. Or maybe it was relational devastation. The person you built your life around left. The family you trusted turned their backs. The community you served rejected you. You were suddenly alone processing loss so profound, it felt like death. Or maybe it was health devastation. Your body betraying you. Pain that wouldn't stop. Diagnosis that terrified you. Future suddenly uncertain in ways you had never imagined. Whatever form the collapse took, you reached that point where cynicism makes perfect sense. Where believing the world is cruel, and people are selfish, and nothing matters, becomes the logical conclusion. Most people at that exact point become bitter. They build walls. They decide kindness is stupidity and vulnerability is weakness and hope is delusion. They protect themselves by hardening completely. But you didn't. Even in the middle of that devastation, even when cynicism would have been justified, your attitude remained. You still believed people could be good. You still chose to be vulnerable with the right people. You still maintained hope even when logic said give up. That wasn't naivety. That was your essence, refusing to be corrupted by circumstances. I saw that. I noted it, and I marked you as resilience level 1. The second moment was when you had power to destroy someone who hurt you but chose mercy instead. This one's specific. Someone did something to you that gave you complete justification and ability to ruin them. Maybe you had evidence of their lies and could expose them publicly. Maybe you had information that would cost them their reputation, their career, their relationships. Maybe you had the perfect opportunity for revenge, and nobody would have blamed you for taking it. You thought about it. Of course you did. You are human. The fantasy of justice played in your mind, imagining them facing consequences, imagining them understanding what they had done, imagining them suffering the way they made you suffer. The temptation was real and powerful. But when the moment came to actually pull that trigger, to send that message, to make that call, to share that information, something stopped you. Not fear of consequences, not concern about looking bad, but genuine conviction that becoming destructive would cost you something more valuable than revenge, your integrity, your character, your soul, so you chose mercy. Not because they deserved it, because you deserve to maintain who you are regardless of what they did. You deleted the message you had drafted. You stayed silent when you could have spoken. You chose your character over their consequences. When I witnessed that second choice, I registered it as wisdom level 2, because choosing mercy when you have power to destroy reveals spiritual maturity most humans never access. Then came the third moment, the one that sealed your classification and triggered my scream. That time when you could have compromised your values for massive gain but chose integrity instead. Maybe it was a business opportunity. You could have made significant money, but it required you to be dishonest, to manipulate people, to sell something you didn't believe in, to harm others for your profit. The financial pressure was real. You needed the money. This would solve your problems. Everyone else was doing it. Nobody would know. You could justify it easily, but you couldn't do it. Something in your core simply wouldn't allow you to betray your values for gain. Or maybe it was a relationship opportunity. You could have had the connection you wanted, but it required you to be someone you are not. To hide parts of yourself, to compromise your boundaries, to accept treatment you knew was wrong. The loneliness was crushing. You wanted to be loved. This was your chance, but not at the cost of your authenticity. Or maybe it was a social opportunity. You could have fit in, been accepted, gained status, but it required you to participate in gossip, to mock someone vulnerable, to laugh at cruelty, to cosign injustice through your silence. The desire to belong was strong, but not strong enough to make you abandon your principles. Whatever the specific situation, you chose integrity over advancement, truth over convenience, character over comfort. And that choice, coming after the previous two, created a pattern I couldn't ignore. 3 consistent decisions across different contexts, proving your attitude isn't situational, but fundamental. That is when I screamed, because I realized I was witnessing a soul that operates on principles deeper than survival instinct. When the divine sound traversed all dimensions, when I declared that your attitude had remained pure despite coordinated attacks designed to corrupt it, Lucifer opened his mouth to begin his usual accusations. But no words came out. He tried to point out your past mistakes. Silence. He tried to mention your imperfections. Silence. He tried to argue that your goodness was strategy or manipulation silence. For the first time in his entire eternal existence, the accuser who never stops talking couldn't find anything to say that wasn't completely disproven by the irrefutable evidence of your consistent attitude. Because you can accuse someone for a bad act, but when their fundamental attitude remains pure across years of testing, when their character doesn't corrupt despite having every justification and opportunity, there is nothing to accuse. The evidence of their essence speaks louder than any argument. And when even your greatest spiritual enemy has to fall silent because he cannot dispute the purity of your nature that confirms something extraordinary about who you are, the moment Lucifer fell silent, something happened in the celestial hierarchies that reorganized your entire spiritual reality. I immediately convened an emergency council. Michael, Raphael, Uriel, Gabriel, Metatron, all the archangels gathered to discuss your case specifically. This doesn't happen often. The last time we assembled like this for an individual human was decades ago. I asked one question. This soul has maintained pure attitude despite coordinated spiritual assault. Do we activate permanent protection protocols? Michael spoke first. I have been observing their battles. Every attack designed to make them bitter failed. Every attempt to corrupt their kindness was resisted. They qualify for warrior protection. Raphael added, their heart has been wounded repeatedly, but hasn't hardened. That is miraculous. They need healing acceleration. Uriel confirmed. Their choices demonstrate wisdom beyond their years. They deserve direct knowledge downloads. Gabriel stated, their voice needs amplification. When they speak truth, it should carry supernatural weight, Metatron concluded. Their journey must be recorded as template consciousness for future souls facing similar trials. The vote was unanimous. Permanent protection activated immediately. Let me tell you exactly what each archangel is now doing in your life. Michael positioned himself at the front of your energy field. Every attack sent toward you hits his shield first. Curses bounce back to their source multiplied. Evil intentions deflect before reaching you. Negative energy rebounds with 7 times force to whoever sent it. He doesn't sleep. 24 hours a day, he is blocking spiritual warfare. You don't even know is happening. Raphael is working on your heart while you sleep. Those wounds that should have made you hard are being healed without leaving scar tissue. Traumas that typically create permanent damage are being processed and released. Your capacity to love without becoming naive, to trust without being foolish, to hope without being delusional is being supernaturally maintained despite what you have been through. Uriel downloads wisdom directly into your consciousness. Those sudden insights about people's true character, that is, Uriel. Those moments when you suddenly understand complex situations with crystal clarity, that is, Uriel. Those ideas that wake you at 3 a.m. fully formed and brilliant. That is Uriel planting divine intelligence in your awareness because you have proven you will use wisdom for good rather than manipulation. Gabriel amplifies your voice when you speak truth. Your words carry more weight than they should. When you share your story, people are moved in ways that don't match the simplicity of your telling. When you give advice, it penetrates deeper than normal counsel. When you pray or speak blessing over others, those words create tangible shifts in reality. That is Gabriel ensuring your pure attitude gets amplified into influence. Metatron records everything about your journey because you are now classified as template consciousness. The way you maintained purity under pressure, the choices you made when corruption was easier, the attitude you sustained when bitterness was justified. All of it is being documented in the Akashic records. as instruction material for souls preparing for similar missions in future incarnations. Your struggles weren't wasted. They are becoming teaching tools for others. Like this video right now if you have noticed unexplainable protection in your life over the past few weeks. Situations that should have destroyed you, but somehow you survived. Attacks that were aimed at you but mysteriously deflected. People who tried to harm you suddenly experiencing their own consequences without you doing anything. Now, let me show you the 7 signs proving this angelic protection is already operating in your reality. First sign, toxic people removing themselves from your life without you having to confront them. They are suddenly too busy making excuses, drifting away. You didn't have to cut anyone off. They just started repelling from your energy as if invisible force field was pushing them out. Second sign, your words carrying unusual weight lately. When you speak, people listen differently. Your advice lands deeper. Your encouragement actually changes people. Your prayers seem to manifest faster. That is Gabriel amplifying your voice because you have proven you use words to build rather than destroy. Third sign, insights and ideas flooding your mind with unusual clarity. You are understanding things you didn't study, solving problems you shouldn't know how to solve, receiving downloads of knowledge that feel like they came from beyond you. That is Uriel feeding you divine wisdom because you have demonstrated you will use intelligence for good. Fourth sign, physical and emotional healing happening faster than it should. Pain that was chronic is decreasing. Anxiety that was constant is softening. Wounds that should take years to heal are closing in months. That is Raphael accelerating your restoration because you maintained your heart's purity despite being hurt. Fifth sign, enemies experiencing consequences without you doing anything. People who attacked you are struggling. Those who betrayed you are facing their own crises. Those who tried to destroy you are being humbled by circumstances beyond your control. That is the mirror protocol Michael activated. Everything sent toward protected consciousness bounces back amplified. Sixth sign, opportunities appearing that match your skills perfectly as if custom designed for you. Jobs you are uniquely qualified for. Connections with people who need exactly what you offer. Resources arriving precisely when needed. That is divine orchestration removing obstacles from your path. Seventh sign, peace that doesn't match your circumstances. You still have challenges, but the panic is gone. Problems remain, but the fear has lifted. Uncertainty continues, but you feel strangely calm. That is supernatural peace that comes when you know at a level deeper than thought that you are protected until you complete what you came here to do. If you are experiencing 4 or more of these signs, your protection is fully active and the archangels are working in your life right now. In the next 90 days, I am going to reorganize your entire reality in ways you will recognize as supernatural. That job or opportunity you thought was impossible is already being arranged. The people who tried to block you are being removed from positions of influence over your life. The financial breakthrough you have been praying for is in motion through channels you haven't even thought of yet. But here is what you need to understand about divine timing. I am not going to drop everything in your lap tomorrow because that would actually harm your development. You have been strengthened through resistance. Removing all challenges immediately would make you soft. So the next 90 days will bring progressive victories. Each one perfectly timed to build your faith, develop your character, and prepare you for larger assignments coming after that. But I need to warn you about something critical. Your biggest test in the next 90 days will not be handling hardship. You have already proven you can maintain your attitude through suffering. Your biggest test will be handling blessing without becoming corrupted by it. When opportunities start flowing, you will be tempted to compromise your values for faster advancement. When resources increase, you will face temptation to become selfish with them. When influence grows, you will be tempted to use it for ego rather than service. Do not abandon the attitude that got you here. Success reveals character just as much as suffering does. The archangels will be watching to see if your purity survives blessing the same way it survived attacks. Stay generous when you start prospering. Stay humble when people start celebrating you. Stay honest when lying would accelerate your gains. The protection continues as long as the attitude that earned it continues. Here is what I need you to understand about why you were born in this specific moment of human history. Your life isn't random. You didn't incarnate now by accident. You were strategically positioned in this era because there is a spiritual war determining whether humanity evolves toward light or collapses into corruption. And your attitude is one of the few things preventing total descent into darkness. Right now, across the entire planet, there are only 200 human beings whose attitudes have remained pure enough to make me scream and silence the accuser. 200 among 8 billion. You are one of them. And the dark forces know that if they can corrupt these last 200, they win the war for this generation. That is why you were attacked so intensely. That is why your trials seemed disproportionate. They were trying to break you before you understood the strategic importance of your purity. They failed. And now that you know who you are, now that your attitude operates consciously instead of instinctively, you have become a key piece in planetary transformation. Watch what is happening in the world. Corrupt systems that seemed eternal are beginning to collapse. Truths that were hidden are being revealed. People who operated in darkness are being exposed. That is not coincidence. That is the result of chosen ones like you maintaining purity when everything conspired to corrupt them. Every time you maintain your genuine attitude, you are voting energetically for what kind of reality manifests. When 200 humans consistently choose purity, kindness, honesty, and compassion despite opposition, those choices have enough spiritual weight to tip cosmic scales. Your attitude isn't just personal character, it is participating in determining humanity's trajectory. So, chosen one. Now you know the complete truth. Your attitude made me scream, not because of isolated good acts, but because of consistent, pure character that survived years of coordinated attacks designed to corrupt it. That scream traversed all dimensions and left even your eternal enemy speechless, because your fundamental nature couldn't be disputed. The archangels are now permanently assigned to protect, heal, guide, and amplify you, because you have proven your light cannot be extinguished by surrounding darkness. Your responsibility now is to maintain that attitude consciously, not perfectly consistently, to keep choosing kindness when cruelty is easier, to keep choosing integrity when compromise is convenient, to keep choosing generosity when selfishness makes more sense. Because there are people watching you without knowing it, people on the verge of giving up their own purity because maintaining it seems pointless. And when they see you sustaining your attitude despite everything, that gives them hope to resist one more day.